By the time I upload this video, I will be 30, and so I wanted to share a little bit of my thought process behind why I started a YouTube channel dedicated to my art in hopes to inspire you in your own journey and encourage you and give you some reminders along the way. So I was thinking about this last night, and I started to watch YouTube my freshman year of high school because I had a phone with internet. I was going through this transition of, becoming a teenager, and I was watching all of these makeup tutorials, and I was watching all of the makeup, like the OG makeup girlies, and thinking about it, I realized that I still don't know how to do my makeup. I don't know anything about eyeshadow, eyeliner, contour, all of those things that I should have learned because of how I religiously watch that kind of content. And then I just had this realization that I watched them not because I was into makeup, but because I was into them as people, into the wisdom that they were giving me. I really liked their storytelling, and I was able to identify parts of me in them and parts of my sisters in them, because at the time, I was going through this transitional period of becoming a teenager, and my sisters were married. They were starting their own families, so there was a kind of disconnect there, but I wanted that kind of older sister perspective on so many things that they were sharing online. And so I really appreciated the art of YouTube, of finding people, of connecting with other human beings. And I realized that, everyone has a story to share. Everyone is able, regardless of who you are, you're able to connect with people online because we're all made in the image of God, and we all have a purpose, we all have a story, and we all have a light that God deposited in each one of us to share with the world. And so very early on, I, as a teenager growing up, I wanted to do that. I wanted to share. I love storytelling. I love sharing what I'm into with the world, and just being able to relate to other human beings is such a powerful thing. And I love connection. I love the art of connection, but I was always very introverted. I was always really shy, and I tried to start YouTube so many times, and I was just, eventually I did, and I was just sharing silly videos for my friends, but and that was very short-lived. I never took it seriously. It was never something that I thought I could do. But recently, in the past 4 years, at 26 years old, I went through a really intense spiritual awakening. And during that period, I learned my gift, which is the gift of art. And so I became an artist. I became a painter. And so it took me this long to create a YouTube channel for my art, because it took me this long to figure out what I was truly passionate about as a gifting, right? And I feel like so many people find it earlier in their lives, and so that's why they're able to, very early on create content and want to connect with other people. But I realized I couldn't do it earlier because I didn't have that thing that I wanted to share with the world. I didn't have that revelation of my gift to the world, right? Because we all have a gift that we're meant to share, glorify God through. And so, I was feeling bad about it the other day, and I'm wait, it was literally 4 years ago that I found out that I could paint. I had never picked up a paintbrush up until a few years ago. And so all that to say that it's such a, the timeline of your life, the timeline of when you're supposed to do things. Like, people always tell you it's better to do things early on, it's better to do things like earlier than later. I don't know, it's like this pressure, right? Like this pressure of the now. And although I do see the importance of being present and being proactive in the now, because tomorrow is not promised, there is, both things can coexist, right? It's the believing in the importance of the present moment, but also understanding that humans were not created to follow a certain timeline. Like, we were all designed differently, and our timelines all look differently. So to compare the moment, of starting something with another person, it's so illogical and irrational, and it creates this pressure that we are putting on ourselves, because in reality and at the end of the day, no one is looking at other people and judging them for when they choose to start something. It really is a judgment that we create for ourselves, an internal judgment that we give ourselves without any foundation on reality. And we all have the perfect alignment of sequences of events that lead to the perfect moment. And after that culmination of events happen, that is when we're able to really take that step and do the thing. I couldn't have been able to create an art channel last year or the year before. I started really posting online like 4 years ago. My art, when I, started painting, and I would do it on other platforms, and short form content was not really intimidating, right? It's just not a lot of pressure in that. But I think YouTube, I always saw as this like huge thing. Long form content, I was really afraid of for a long time, because it was, I grew up watching YouTube videos, and it was like this idea that everyone on screen was like super perfect and had it all figured out and had it all together. But I realized then that that was the inner child in me speaking. I was looking at these people when I was a young girl, and so at the time, everyone looked so grown up and put together, and I was just like this teenage girl. And I really, after high school, I really just stopped watching YouTube. I just, kind of just moved on from that, and I wasn't into that anymore. And so any idea that I had of YouTube was really what I remembered when I was really young, and that was the idea that everyone just lived this perfect mature life, or they were so completely put together, and that I had to wait to be this person that was put together and mature and perfect to be able to share something of value online. And that's just not real. It's not true. No one is there. And so I'm really thankful that it just so happened that I found my calling after my prefrontal cortex was developed, honestly, because after that was developed, I changed so much, perspective wise, and just my maturity levels, and so many things, and my insecurities and my confidence, those things shifted a lot after 25. And I am 29 right now, but I will be 30 in a couple of days. So I am going through a really crazy transition. It just feels very surreal entering a new decade, because entering my 20s, I feel it kind of took for granted. I was excited because at 21 I'd be able to drink, and that was the pinnacle of my of me wanting to enter my 20s. That was the highlight point of that, and I didn't really see beyond 21. My prefrontal cortex was very clearly not there. And so I didn't have like this huge perspective of what it meant to enter my 20s, and a lot happened in my 20s, and with that came like this understanding of the value of time and what a gift it is to be able to live in this time that we live in now, where we're able to share so much online. I really do believe it's a gift. And I used to be this person that was all about like, just wanting to be isolated and live in the mountains, and like I didn't want to be a part of society and like all of this like egocentric thing. And I realized that connection is a gift, and I'm so glad I'm out of that like weird like spiritual thing I was on, because that's not true enlightenment. True enlightenment is connection and having the heart of God to want to connect with other people and to share love and to share light in whatever capacity, because these things come in different mediums, they come in different forms, and we never really understand the power of our words, the power of perception, and the flow of energy, regardless if it's in person or on screen. Energy is there. It's a very present thing. It's a very real thing when it comes to our words and the way that we relate to other people. And I just know like so many people have impacted my life, whether in person or online. It's all the same. Like I remember, sometimes you don't remember specific words that people have spoken, but you always remember how they made you feel. And that's how I feel about a lot of the people that I watched when I was growing up. Sometimes I don't remember a lot of their names at this point or what they look like, but I remember, watching their content and feeling understood and, feeling seen and comforted during a time where I was, in a weird transition of like my awkward teenage years, and I was very shy and I was really weird. And so I hope, I hope to be that for someone. And it's not on like some prideful, egotistical thing. It's actually very humbling to know that regardless of how imperfect you are or how much, it really doesn't matter who you are. God can work through you. God can work through that. And it's so humbling to know that. And it just, by shielding yourself from the world and by hiding your voice, it's like that is a lot more prideful than showing up, because then you are telling God, like, you cannot use me. I am beyond like human connection, so I say all that to say that I am really excited about starting my art channel at zero. Like I started at zero. I really didn't promote it like across my other platforms much, just like very casually, like here and there, but I really started it at zero. And I think I have like 97 subscribers right now, and no one is watching my videos, and it feels really freeing. Like it feels really nice to just have this space where I can document things. And like I said, we never really know like who watches what and how it impacts them. And the internet is a really interesting tool. It's such a gift that we have. And I know there's a lot of negatives that come with it, but if social media ever becomes a negative, that really deserves some like deep examination of what's going on, because the internet is a tool, and if you're allowing it to make you feel negatively, then you might be spending too much time on it, or there's just some work that you need to do, but that's neither here nor there. I am very much with the idea that it is a tool for good, right? If we use it and we don't allow it to use us. So there really is no pressure to like reach anything on here. Like when you go in it because you love to create and you love to tell a story and you love what you do, there is no pressure to be part of anything or like conform to an algorithm or, you know, appease other people and like make people watch your videos. And it's a peaceful feeling knowing that you're at the right place at the right time, regardless of outside validation or perception. It's all about you wanting to do this because you want to do this. And I say this all the time, but like, if you want to get on YouTube, if you want to create, it really has to be because you want to, because it's not a platform where you get instant validation. It's not a platform where like, it's not like TikTok, you know, where you post something and like immediately people are consuming your content. It has to be, and I think that's why I waited so long to do this. And like, I feel like that's why it feels so natural now and not forced, and there's no like pressure or shame that I am starting this too late. Like I really don't see it that way because I'm really at a place where I can just create and be happy with that, with the process of creation. And so this is the perfect place to be when it comes to being on YouTube. Just a complete detachment of expectations. So it's not too late. It's not too late. If you want to do it now, do it. Do it and don't even care about what other people are going to say. I feel like being a YouTuber was like really silly like a couple years back, where like if you told people you made content online, like you would be laughed at. But I think like everyone has maybe moved on from that perception, and everyone is just more open to it, to just like to content creation now. So a lot of that shame has hopefully like lifted off of people. But I just really think it's a wonderful place for introverts to be, because I've talked about this before, but even though we may not be as outspoken as extroverts, we do have a lot to say. So hope this encouraged someone. And if you have started a channel, if you have started an art channel, let me know. Comment down below. I will check it out. I will subscribe to you. I will support you. It's really intimidating not just to create a YouTube channel, but it be something so personal as your art. That's a big step. So be proud of yourself.